Man, oh man, it is February already. How did that even happen, man? Have you enjoyed this year so far? I mean, there's been a few things going on in the world that make you just want to bury your whole entire existence under the sand and just wait until maybe summertime where things might get better. Man, it's been heavy, right? It has been a heavy time to just be a part of the world. And I've noticed that the less I scroll on social media, the better. So, you know, for what it's worth, you see all those new things. I feel like every year when the new year changes, there's all these things that will help you get better. There's all these apps, there's all these, these watches that tell your metabolic age and if whether you're having a heart attack, like all this stuff is out there. Like all of a sudden you just feel bad when you don't look at it. Like I practiced the other day when I decided at 9 o'clock that was it. No more TV, no more phone, nothing. Read a book, and like by 9:30, I fell asleep. Like because my body and mind wasn't stimulated. It wasn't triggered. So I wish you well finding good things like this podcast here. This is a good thing. We're talking about good things and getting through life and doing all the things. And the last couple of weeks has flown by. I cannot believe it is February, but here we are. Groundhog Day has passed, and Punxsutawney Phil saw his shadow. But here in Illinois, in Woodstock, Willie, where the movie Groundhog Day was filmed, which I think counts even more than the actual Punxsutawney, in my opinion, he did not see his shadow. So that means here in the Midwest, 4 more weeks of winter, and then it will miraculously turn to 75 and sunny at the end of those 4 weeks. So I'm all in, man. Let's do it. Let's make it happen. Screw it, right? But I wanted to talk to you about going to Woodstock, Illinois to see this event and to be part of it. So I have been in the news business for 20 years, and I would say probably 10 of those years I have been in Woodstock the day of Groundhog Day. So I've seen it on every level, like when it was a little thing to a big thing that it is now, and it really is something to see. So if you are ever in a place in your life where you can take some time off and go to Woodstock, Illinois, and enjoy the festivities that are Groundhog Day, it is outstanding. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, is it cold and is it winter? Yes, it's February freaking 2nd. Of course it's cold and it's winter, but it's still fun, man. I knew people that have been there for the entire weekend. They got there like on a Friday. They're staying through the day on a Groundhog Day and they're heading home, or they're staying that night and getting up early and going home that day. The point being is that the town itself is pretty cool. So you drive and it's like a northwest town. I wouldn't call it a suburb of Chicago because it's far out. It's like an hour plus from the city limits of Chicago. And I live on the north side. So, if you're living on the south side, you're coming from the south, a lot further. But I would say hour 10, hour 15 outside of Chicago. So I feel like that makes it not a burb. And when you drive out there, you go through the burbs, you get off at certain highways. You go past Barrington and all those things. And you're about 40 minutes from Rockford. And you drive. And it's just like your typical burbs that turn into like the smaller towns. And when you get out into the cornfield areas, right, where the main strip has the gas station, it has the car wash, it has the McDonald's. I think I saw 14 of them when I'm driving there. And then, you drive and you're looking for this Woodstock because in your mind, you're thinking that this place is some magical space that time has forgot. And you would be right. It is a time and a place that has been forgotten by people in all the right ways. I'm not saying that they haven't advanced. I mean, they do have a Starbucks right in the square, so they have advanced. But what I mean by that is the charm of the movie Groundhog Day was captured. The Woodstock charm was captured in Groundhog Day and vice versa. So when you go to Woodstock to enjoy Groundhog Day, you get serenaded by the beautiful cacophony of people that are singing, they're dancing, they're doing the polka on Groundhog Day morning, waiting for the big giant squirrel, as Bill Murray would say, to come out and tell us whether or not there's going to be another 6 weeks or 4 weeks of winter, right? So I'll walk you through it. You get there, you park, you get there early, 6:15. It's packed. There are people out. It's dark, but the square is lit up in all the Christmas lights that have been left over. I mean, I'm sure they put up Christmas lights that are the colored lights, and then they're just white lights, right? And the white lights are all around. They light up the entire square, and it's just this fantastic vibe feeling. When you get there, you feel like it's a movie set. You really do, because it's a square. The best way I can describe the square is it's just a big square, like, a square. And in the middle is a park. And the park is like has a veterans memorial. There's a big gazebo up there. And the gazebo is where they take Woodstock Willie. They ask him to come out of his little tree. They talk to him, and whatever they say to him, well, yeah, whatever. But then, he comes out and he says whether or not it's going to be spring by seeing his shadow or not seeing his shadow, whatever. You're not going there because you're not going there because you are thinking for real that this is the way and law of the land when it comes to weather. You're going there for the experience, the pageantry of Woodstock Willie and everything that goes along with it. And if you go there for that, and you go there because you want to see some of the old spots where they filmed Groundhog Day, you're going to love it. You're going to fall in love, because they do have little spots all along the square where Bill Murray or other characters from the movie did their thing. But a big giant portion of the movie was filmed in the square itself. And then down the street, there is a little bed and breakfast, and that's where Bill Murray stayed. The Opera House was the hotel in the movie, so you can go in there and take a look. But the place where they did the piano scene is at a place right off of this square. There's a bowling alley right off of the square. I mean, it is a fun town. And every time I've gone, I always say to myself that I want to go back in the summertime to really enjoy it. And talking to people when I was there, you ask them questions. We highlighted different businesses around the square. I thought, every news station is just doing Phil, doing Woodstock Willie, right? They're doing whether or not he sees a shadow or not. And I thought, you know what? Why don't we also dig in a little bit in Woodstock and make it a morning where we showcase some of the stores that are right around there? So I was fortunate enough to get some segments booked where we talked to people that owned a place called Read Between the Lines, another place called Down to Earth, and another I forgot the name of it. It's a marketplace that's right there on the square. And of course, we go to the visitor center that is in the old courthouse, and they have all the things that you would want for Woodstock Willie, and they have scarves, they have all sorts of things. It's a lot of fun. But the people there love it, and they're so proud of their town. And the Between the Lines bookstore it's a thing I've noticed over the last couple of years. Bookstores that want to make it are not just bookstores anymore. They're bookstores and cafes, most likely serving up some coffee of some kind. And that's what this place was. The whole side of it was coffee. The other side of it was books, and kind of weaving in throughout the space are these bookstores. But they have all of this Woodstock Willie paraphernalia all over the place. They have books about Groundhog Day. I mean, they really get into it, and it's a great bookstore. I asked the woman who owns the bookstore, her name was Lynn, and she had mentioned that right now, some of the big books that are jumping off the shelves right now are the hockey, that show that's out somewhere about the gay hockey team or the gay hockey players or whatever that might be. There's books about it, and all the books are flying off the shelf. She said that is the number one thing that people are asking for. They can't keep it in stock. They're going out the window. And she had mentioned that over the years, she has seen the phases and the trends that people really are asking for. And she mentioned that she remembers when every book that people wanted to buy had to do with a dog from the movie Marley and Me. And this is 15 years ago, right? And, everything in between, Gone Girl, a lot of those type of books. And she said the book that is being requested a lot to be written right now, or her daughter, who is an editor, said the number one book that she's getting requests for to edit are alien love stories. Let me just let that sit for a second. Alien love stories are the next big thing. And you know what? This reminds me, there's a bookstore in Roscoe Village, and it's right on Roscoe. It's just west of Damon Avenue, and they have, it's like a romance bookstore I remember them having alien romance novels. I mean, there was a lot of them, and she said that people would come in and grab them and love them, and it's like a whole subgenre that will peak. Watch, mark my words, on Netflix in a couple years, how K-pop's everywhere right now. There's going to be alien love stories everywhere, all over Netflix, because that is what's being requested now by the readers, and this is like where the trend starts. So I don't know. I thought it was kind of funny, but talking to these people about the day, Groundhog Day, and they just love their town, and they wanted everybody to know that they love their town, and they show it by just being nice, man. In this world, I feel like being nice is a thing that doesn't exist like it used to be. Everybody's kind of a dick, you know? And everybody kind of looks out for themselves. And I think it's because of our phones. With like everybody, I don't think everybody was raised to be an asshole, but people, when you are in the world of your own head and your phone, you get everything when you want it because you are in control. And that doesn't really translate well to driving when you're driving and people are mad that you're not going fast enough, or they don't want to go fast enough. Like today I was on the expressway, and you're in the fast lane, right? And this is Chicago. So going 45 in the fast lane, it's a little ridiculous. It's a little dangerous, actually, if you've been on our highways, because the speed limit's 55. Most people are going 75, 80, I feel, right? And a person going 45 and refuse to move out of the way and holding up traffic to the point where you see the space in front of them, and it's like, 6 car lengths or 7 car lengths of open space. And then people are getting in front and slowing down. It's a whole thing. That is my number one pet peeve. But like just the arrogance of just not wanting to move over, people not wanting to let people in, I don't know. It just bums me out sometimes. So this gives you a healthy dose of the opposite. People are friendly, they're welcoming, people are not particularly awful about where you're parking. People just kind of park and walk, and everybody knows on this day, everybody's parking everywhere. You're not getting a ticket. You're there to enjoy Woodstock, Illinois, and it's a great time. The town square, kind of like when I was there, it kind of made me feel like I was in the movie Back to the Future, because that town saved the town, the clock tower, that whole thing. This town square has that vibe, except the center of the town isn't the clock tower. Obviously, it's the park, but there's a building that's very reminiscent to the clock tower building in Back to the Future. There's a few of them actually in Woodstock, and if you watch the movie to now, most of the buildings are the exact same. Maybe the awnings are a little different and the businesses are a little different, but there's still a diner that's in the movie that's still right there on the square. And all the other place I went to was called Down to Earth, and it's a place that I feel like you could only really, they're in the city, but outside of that, you don't really find them. And it's a place that sells, rocks and gems and handcrafted leather and like Viking stuff. It's a really cool place, kind of outstanding. And it's like a sleeper hit, if you know what I mean. Like you walk in there and you're thinking, well, what the hell is this place? And then you look, and if you're into crystals and energy, this is your jam. This is your store. I highly recommend going because it's a lot of fun. And I believe, I'm trying to remember the Vivian. No, Vivian is not the name. I forgot the young lady's name that was in charge there, but she's the owner. She's the woman who is there most days, and she was fantastic. Lovely, lovely person who welcomed us with open arms and didn't even flinch at the fact that we were there from a TV station, but it was just lovely, and we had a great time. I'm trying to look up the woman's name now because now I'm mad that I don't remember it, because I was taking great pride in the fact that I would remember. Um, let's see, Nina, that's her name, Nina. So Down to Earth is the name of the place, and the other place is called the Grove House Market, and Rachel is the woman that was running that. But Down to Earth and Nina, they have like wood carvings of like Vikings and other things in like this back room. And she mentioned that her father like makes custom the metalwork and the leather goods that are in the store. That's what her dad does. He like makes all that stuff. So I don't know. I thought it was pretty cool. I thought it was a great spot, unique, and they're full of them. Like the bookstore I mentioned earlier, a unique bookstore. You can grab yourself a cup of coffee, a nice book, cozy up somewhere in there and enjoy yourself. Or, in the summertime, I asked them, like, what's it like in the summertime, because I've never been there in the summer. and they're just like, oh, it is like completely Americana. They have days where a band, now this is a band that's been a part of Woodstock's and since Woodstock's been around. Now, obviously, there's different people in the band because there's not 140-year-olds playing music, but there's people that come and play music out in the square. It's like a brass band, I believe, and they play this music to kind of fill the square every Tuesday or Friday. I can't remember exactly the days, but then when they're done, they play the national anthem and people stand up and they put their hand on their heart and some people cry because you just don't see that level of patriotism anymore. Our country's so divisive of what is right and what is wrong in politics right now that people, I feel like, have lost sight about our country and what it is to be an American to another American, to share a space with Americans. They made it seem that that hasn't been lost in Woodstock. So if you want like this Americana treat, go to Woodstock, go there for Valentine's Day or wait till the summertime and go and book yourself a room right on the square if you can find one and enjoy the food, the scenery, hang out in the park, read a book. I mean, it's not that far. If you're watching or listening to this and you're in Chicago, this isn't very far at all. I mean, this is an easy day trip if you want to go for the day, but spend the weekend. Go on a Friday, come back on a Sunday. You will have a great time. The prices are not city prices, so that's attractive as well. But it's just a fun time, and it's about 40 minutes outside of Rockford. So if you're watching this up in Rockford, it's a pretty close drive. But it's just if your kids haven't ever seen something like this, or you haven't for that matter, because you grew up in suburbia, and this isn't suburbia, like I said, this is a town, it's a small town outside of Chicago. This isn't cookie cutter houses put up in a cul-de-sac, and not that there's anything wrong with that, but there's just not a lot of soul and feeling to that, right? So this is the opposite. It gives you all of that. And I saw little kids that have never been there before running out into the square, and they thought it was like a playland just because it looks so out of a movie. It looks so not possibly real. But I will here to tell you that it is very much real. And the square, there's several monuments dedicated to veterans. There's a big monument, right? I would say in the western edge of the park that is dedicated to soldiers from like the 1800s. I don't know, man. It's just a cool spot to go and check out and enjoy. I mean, they have like the Elks Lodge and, having a drink in Woodstock and enjoying yourself, not a bad time, man. And they do a lot of fun things. There's a movie theater there. They do a lot of fun things that will, um, how should I say it? That play up to the fact that they're in this Americana vibe type of community. So if you have a chance, I would highly suggest going out Woodstock for Groundhog Day next year. They said Memorial Day is a big time for them where they do a huge Memorial Day parade. Pride Fest is a big time for them. And also Mexican Independence Day or Hispanic Heritage Month. I can't remember which one they said. I think it was Hispanic Heritage Month. They had mentioned that they do it up big there. And despite everything going on with ICE this summer, or this fall, I should say, they still had about 2,000 people come there and hang out and enjoy. And I got to say, to give you a sense of what Woodstock is truly like, we were running around showing all these places up, and we walk into the Woodstock mall, and it's a mall, but it's like a building. It's not like a mall like you're thinking of, like gigantic sprawling mall. It's more like office building, but instead of offices, they're stores, right? And you walk inside, and it's probably what malls were before malls. The Woodstock Business Mall, I think it's called, something like that. So we walk in and we got our cameras and whatnot, and this gentleman walks up, sees us with our camera and stuff like that, and he just offers us hot chocolate. Like, that was my favorite thing of the entire day. And he didn't offer it because we had TV cameras. He didn't ask us to be on TV. Even the camera guy was like, "You want to be on TV?" And the guy's like, "No, do you just want hot chocolate? Happy Groundhog Day." Like, he just gave us hot chocolate for free and with nothing in return, just a smile on his face. And he said, "Welcome to Woodstock." And they had all sorts of family. And it was a Mexican family. And, I'm half Mexican, right? So in my brain, when you go to a place like Woodstock, you don't typically think Mexican immigrant family running a coffee or a shop in Woodstock, but there is, and that's a very old fashioned way of thinking. I'm well aware of that, because Mexican immigrants are all over this country because I mean half of Chicago is Mexican, right? And it just warmed my heart because it reminded me of why our country's so great. Because just because people aren't from the place that was great doesn't mean that they don't understand what makes that place great. And that's what this place was. And that's what that represented to me, somebody who just loved being a part of that community, that clearly moved from wherever they were from to Woodstock to make a business, to spread joy, to be better people to one another. And it was all summed up in just a simple, hey, do you want a hot chocolate? Happy Groundhog Day. I don't know. I loved it. Thought it was wonderful. A great and beautiful experience on a holiday that I typically don't really get too excited about one way or another. And I had an excellent time and I was happy to be there and highly recommended. So that's it for the Stoop today. I just wanted to talk a little bit about Groundhog Day. The next episode, I'm going to be talking a little John Mellencamp because there's several stories of my life that John Mellencamp encompasses. And I've been thinking about a book in the last few years, like what kind of book I would like to write. And I definitely feel like John Mellencamp would be the one of the songs, if not a few, of the soundtrack of the movie from said book, right? Because I feel like I got some good stories to tell, and it's a lot of those stories are. I'm going to show this picture. Why not? Are about these people right here. Those are the four of us. That's Grant, Tim, myself, and Daryl. And that was the time that I am writing about because it was a special time in my life, and I think it's worth telling. So I'll kick it around here on the front stoop, and then we'll see what I do about a book. But either way, thank you for watching, everybody. Have a great February first week. Enjoy. Watch the movie Groundhog Day, and if you have a chance, get an Airbnb up in Woodstock and watch it there. Have a good day. We'll see you later.